Okay, so when I wanted to talk to you about analytics and about how to understand your users, but I want to start with a little bit of basics about how what startups need and how can Google help them. Is that okay if we do that? Okay. So a little about me. This is how I see myself. I admit I have a little bit less hair. But the key, so live long and prosper, guys. Okay. The key here is that he was an ambassador, right? We're ambassadors. We work in the Android engineering team, and we connect between our engineering team and developers and startups like you. Cool. So what am I going to talk to you about? I'm going to talk to you about a team and how to and tips about how to recruit the right team, how to validate your vision, how to create a great product, how to do growth, and how to change and analyze your users, how to be agile. So a team. I had an interview with the most active angel investor in AngelList. This guy invests in like 3 startups a week. He has been investing in about 700 startups up until now. Okay, so he is an active guy. And I asked him, what is the key that makes you decide that this is the right startup to invest in? And he said, team. He didn't blink, he didn't look at any, he didn't think about it. He said team. And I said, what do you do to make sure that your startups that you invest in become successful? He said, I make sure the team works well together. Okay? And if you think that he's like a crazy guy, you need to see how much Google invests in actually getting the right people in, right? We do between 8 and 12 interviews for each candidate. And for each person that does an interview, you actually need to write what are the questions you're asking him, what is the answers he's giving you, and an analysis of each question. So it's a very, very lengthy process. We invest a lot of time getting the right people, getting the right team. So if you want to invest in one thing, and which is important, building the team. The ideas can change, but finding a good co-founder, like finding a wife or a husband or a spouse, is super, super important. So let's talk a little bit about finding tech founders or founding founders in general. So things that I've seen, and this is my experience, okay? This is not like the official party line, this is my experience. Things that that worked really well is going to Google developer groups, meetups, as a startup, and just come there and say, hey, listen, talk to the organizer and tell them, listen, I want to talk about my startup 5 minutes before you start your meeting. Okay? And you say, hey, I'm Amir, I have a cool startup, this is what we do, we're looking for Android developers, if you're interested, come after that and speak to me. It's simple, it's easy, and it's super, super effective because you have people there in the Google developer groups who are knowledgeable, who are usually friendly, and who are usually could easily become a great founder for you. So that's a good thing. Another thing that really worked well is a pitch night. A pitch night is like speed dating for founders, okay? So you have developers and entrepreneurs and business people come into a meeting, and then the people with ideas who want to recruit people just come in and say, this is me, this is what I do, and then you do speed dating, like have tables and have speed dating between the mentors. This is really, really useful, and I've seen a lot of startups been created by that. Okay, so you have a great team. Now it's all about the idea, right? How many of you have startup ideas? Okay. How many of you have good startup ideas? Okay. How many of you have bad ideas? Oh, less. Okay. It seems that every idea that you have seems to be very good, right? And when you tell it to your mother, she's really impressed. It's like, wow. How could you, this is amazing, right? Like this guy. So, but sometimes when you launch, the user does not share the same enthusiasm as this guy, right? Sometimes he doesn't really love the stick. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about tools that we provide founders to help them understand if they have a great idea or not. Okay, these are indications. This is not like, hey, look, I did this, and now you can give me $10 million. These are indications that your idea is either good or less good. So we're going to talk about Google Trends, and we're going to talk about Google keyword tools. But this is the problem. You know what's this word? You know this word? Assume. You know this? You know what it's composed of? Okay. It's making an ass out of you and me. Okay? This is the basic problem with assume. Assume is telling your mother the idea and then, based on her feedback, creating a 10-month project, okay? You need to assume is that users will share your app. Assume is that they will pay $100 for a product. There's tons of assumptions, so you need to mitigate the assumptions. So one good tool is Google AdWords keyword tool. This is a tool that lets you know how much would you pay for a user, okay? So let's say I'm doing a word processing app, okay? If I want, and I want to know how much would it cost me to get people to download the app, paid users, okay? Sometimes you get free users and that's perfect, that's good, but you need some indication of how much would it cost you to buy a user, right? So this tool gives you the number value, like the average cost per click on our tools. And you can use other tools, but this is what I know, and this is free, so it's a good tool. It also tells you how much average clicks do you usually get. So it's a good indication of how many people are actually doing and clicking the word processing app. Okay, so you get a number figure. How much would it cost me to get a user? This is a good indication because there are words and phrases which are really, really affordable, but there's other words who are really, really expensive. So getting users in some verticals, it's like really expensive. Oh. Okay. The second one is called Google Trends. This is very important because it shows you how much people search for a certain phrase. And I'll give you an example. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur by heart, and I had a few startups. I sold one. One of the startups that I still didn't sell, I still have it, is called Cat's Idol. Okay, think of it like Tinder for cats, or Hot or Not for cats. Okay, so you put your cat on the web, and other people say, yeah, it's a good-looking cat, or they say, oh no, it's a horrible cat. And I sort by like the most popular cats and recent cats. So when I built the infrastructure, I said, yeah, cats are the thing. But when I went here and I did cat photos versus dog photos, I saw that a lot more people are looking for dog photos. So, you know, I thought that because YouTube is filled with cat videos, everybody likes cat photos. But that was an assumption, okay? I validated that assumption by putting these two words, and I saw that dogs were much more popular than cats. So I created dogsidol.com. It's like American Idol, Dog's Idol. Do you get it? Okay, cool. So the idea is that don't make assumption. You can use this tool to see how much search is done every year on our. You can also see things like annuity. So you can see that there's less search in the summer for your product. Let's say you do something with tourism, okay? So you can see that there's more in the summer and less in the winter. This is good indications about your business. So this is the calculation at the end of the day. This is one of the calculations, okay? So you remember David talked about ARPU, so let's make this easy. Average revenue per user. How much money are you getting from your users, okay? And the second one is customer acquisition cost. Okay? How much does it tell you to cost? And it's not just advertising. It could be the guy who calls clients and say, hey, listen, you have to buy this. This is amazing. It could be the person who's going into all the social graphs and talking about your products. This is your customer acquisition cost, and this is your average revenue per user. If your average revenue per user is bigger than your customer acquisition cost, you're a happy puppy. Okay? Like this guy. If because you're making money, you're making money. So I'm saying this shouldn't be like your utmost assumption, but this is a good indication that you're going to make money. The second thing is if your average revenue per user is smaller, significantly smaller, then you're probably sad as this sad cat there. Okay? Any questions around this? Okay. Great products. So let's say you have an idea, you validated it. I'm going to go through here really quick because we're going to have specific sessions for this. But building great products is very important. We want to delight the user. We want to create apps and web and everything that the user loves and wants to use. So we'll talk a little bit about Android. It's popular. It's open source, but I think what the most important thing for you as developers and entrepreneurs is that you can do rapid prototyping. You don't need approval of a certain fruit to get your app out to your clients, okay? You can do iteration very fast. And you can do 3-4 iterations a day. You can do A/B testing. You can take an app down. You can take an app up. We take the idea that if you're bad, we'll take you out, but we trust you at the beginning to get you in. Okay? So this is a really good way for you to do rapid prototyping and experimentation with large audiences. But I want you to think a little bit about outside the box, and let's see if internet willing. Oh, no. Can I get a, do I have one? See?
I want to show you today how this device changed my life. Great, let's go there.
Red light. Green light. $50 shekel.
$50 shekel. Let's buy some coffee.
Breakfast. Bagel plus coffee with cream cheese, croissant, yogurt, cream milk, fresh fruit.
So it goes for 2 minutes, which is way longer than our attention span usually. But you see the idea? She's blind, and this tool enables her to see the world. For me, this is a life-changing experience. Okay, let's do it. Exit?
No.
Oh, no, oh, sorry. Yep. Come on, to the left. And then present again. So how many of you have smartphones? Okay, I heard that there's like 120% penetration in Brazil, so you should like raise both hands or something like that. The key is that the phone that you have in your pocket is stronger than all the computers that sent the first shuttle into space. This is an awesome, awesome data point. Okay, you have a supercomputer in your pocket. Why just use it for apps? You can use it for so many other things that could save and make other people's life better. We just released Android Wear, so you have multiple interfaces like the watch. We talked about Android Auto, so the Android is going to the car. We talked about Android TV, and then the Android is going to your screen. The idea is that you need to think outside the box. Everybody moved from web to mobile. Now they're moving. Now they're extending the mobile to anywhere. Okay, with Google Glass, with the wearable, and with this non-Google startup, which I really love. Okay, if you want to build a great product, I have two URLs for you. And Google them. One of them is Android Design Guidelines. If you want to know how Google think an Android app should look, and give you a recommendation and a lot of good tools, you should go there. So just Google Android design guidelines. And the second one is we released a full design for everything, like for web, for mobile. It's called google.com/design. Okay, that's another good URL to look for. So I just want to, so one thing, and we'll talk about this more, UI is not UX, okay? You know, UI is like making it look great. UX is making you feel great when you use it, right? So you can have an amazing looking app that is really a bad experience, and you can have Craigslist, which looks like not the best designed app, which gives you the functionality you need. Okay, so this is the difference between UX and you need to connect between two people who usually don't talk to each other, or like talk in different languages, the designer and the engineer. But it's really important to do that. And I'll give you an example. Me as an engineer, I'm an engineer by trade. I love forms. Right? This is like amazing. Oh yeah, I got all the validation, the little flag. Isn't this like super cool? And I managed to get the regular expression for email, so I know I have to validate the email. This is like perfect. But so the users, the developers say, hey, nice form, right? The browser is the most popular app on tablets. Your users are looking at your websites you develop using mobile and tablets. But you are probably developing them on computers, right? And testing them on computers. The idea is that you're not testing your apps on the way the user are consuming your apps, which is a big problem, okay? So there are frameworks to handle that, and we'll have discussions about that later. But the key is responsive UI. And I want to show you a demo. Let's see if that works. So this is an Argentinian site. I'm sorry. Okay, I know that. But the key here is that if I change the screen side, so this is what I would see on non-mobile. This is what I would see on tablets, let's say. And this is what I would see on a phone. So you see, the idea is that you can create content that immediately changed when the screen size change. And this is like a very, very like basic example. We can have, and we'll show you later on today, example where the actual content changes based on your screen. But the way to think about it is always think mobile, okay? There's a saying now in the Silicon Valley, mobile first. So first of all, think about your mobile users. Another site to see is Chrome Experiments. How many of you know about it? Okay, those of you who don't, tell your significant other, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, that you're spending the night with this site. And then just go and just, it's amazing. Okay? You can spend hours and hours just going, browsing between the projects. They're all open source, so you can actually use them and tweak them and change them. It's highly recommended. This is a weekend, right? So I just killed everybody's social life. I'm sorry. Growth. So you have a great product. You have the potentials to have a lot of users. How do you get those users? Like this guy, okay? So we have a great platform to get users. It's called Google Play. I'll talk more about it in a session in the afternoon. But think of you remember the Flappy Bird guy? There was a guy in Vietnam, I think. Yeah, he was in Vietnam. Nobody knew about him. And within 4 days, he claimed, and I think he was right, that he created an app that generated $45,000 a month in revenue. Okay, that was TechCrunch talking about that. It's not official, but I guess they might be right. It's amazing how anyone, anywhere can now create an innovation, create an app, and get global distribution. Think about how hard this was 10 years ago to distribute your innovation around the world. It was pretty damn expensive, pretty damn hard. Now with Google Play, you can do that. We do this for you. And a question that I was asked in Rio, yes, we also do the billing for you, which is extremely, extremely hard in many, many areas. So if the user wants to buy something from you, we handle the entire buying process and put the money in your bank. So this is like things that were extremely hard in the past that are now made trivial for you. So David always said that this is the best time to be an entrepreneur these days, because anyone can be that. Okay, so but the problem is that, okay, you got TechCrunch to talk about you. And now you have the Flappy Bird thingy, and like everybody's using it, and you have a server. You know what usually happens to startups who are not prepared to go to and go to talk to in Slashdot or in TechCrunch? You know what happens? Their server crash. It's a very sad thing that in the yesterday you had 1,000 users, now you have 10,000 users or 1 million users, and they're all getting a very bad experience because the servers crashed. So what we offer you is the way to host your app on the same servers that we run Gmail and search, on the same server farms. So we have, we do search, right? Yeah? We do search. We do Gmail. We have a lot of apps. We have a lot of users. We have a lot of computers. We have dedicated networks between our data centers with dedicated fiber optics. We invest a lot of money in making sure our infrastructure is really strong for our products. But what we now announce is that you can host your innovation. You can use your apps, your servers on our server farms. Okay. So this is like I think the logos might have changed since I created this. But go and just Google Google Cloud Platform and read all about it. It's a great platform, highly recommended. For me, I'll give you an experience as a founder. I had a startup that got mentioned by TechCrunch, and I had one server. I put it on our cloud, Google Cloud. And the key with Google Cloud is that it grows as on demand. So if I need more servers, Google would automatically create more servers. So the day before, I was about 2 servers. And I looked at the log after the mention, and I saw that Google has created 50 new servers for my app. And the day after, I was on 25, because there's like a spike. But after the spike, you see more and more and more users. So just to do that and to buy 50 servers and then to sell 25 of them a day later, that's probably not a good strategy, right? But with Google, we have the elasticity to give you what you need. Any questions? I see like yes, no, okay. Okay, agility. How do you know that what your users want or don't want to do? I love this guy. Okay. You know I want to move, do everybody get the joke? I want to move it, move it. I want to move it, move it. Okay. So how do you know your users? And I'm going to share with you, again, a personal story. This is me, not that guy, this guy. I think it was 10 years ago, and I think about 10 kilos ago. I went to Nepal, and I studied meditation. I went with my wife. It was a cycle where you have to go for 4 days without speaking. At the second day, she said, listen, it's not going to work for me. I'm going to do shopping in Kathmandu. You continue your silly meditation. We're still married 15 years after. We're very happy. But the idea is that I really love meditation, and I practice it a lot. I think that doing meditation really helps you be organized and thoughtful. And I spent 2 years in New Zealand. It was great doing meditation. But when I went back to the world, I found out that meditation is really hard. Think of it in Sao Paulo. You do your meditation in the morning, you're happy, and then somebody cuts you in the street, right? Or honks the horn, or runs in front of your car, and like all the meditation goes to waste, and like you're not happy. So I said, if I'm not going to do the meditation, I want to teach other people to meditate. And that is what I did. So I created an app. I'm a geek, right? So what do? I create an app to solve problems. This is my app. It looks horrible, I know, I admit. This is the first screen you see. This is a button. You see the button? This is a button, okay? Yeah, I know, it doesn't look like a button. This is your level, and this is your karma bar. The more you meditate, it's like a gamification of meditation. The more you meditate, the more karma you get. You click on the button, you get a meditation. You can put the app on airplane mode. And you can have a fancy gong, which I bought from the internet, that does gong every few seconds. Okay, this is the app. Okay, I thought I'm going to get 7 users. That was like my target audience was 7 users are going to use my app. And after a month, I got 10K installs. I was really, really genuinely surprised. As you can see, I spent, if you look in my blog, if you look at all my social network, you'll see that I did nothing to promote this app. I just put it there, okay? And I guess the 7 users did something that created 10,000 installs. So I needed more information. So I did, again, the geekiest thing, which is to use technology to solve this problem. So how many of you know about Google Analytics? How many of you use it? Okay. Those of you who don't know about it but don't use it, you need to use it. And when I say Google Analytics, I mean it in a general perspective. Use analytics, okay? Understand your users. Google Analytics is a great tool. It has support for web. I think it has Android and iOS. And it's free, and we'll talk a little bit about what it gives you. But you can actually track things which are really amazing. You can track page views, you can track customers buying your content, so you can actually see a lot of information. I've even seen you can have custom variables. I've seen a startup that collects eye movement from the user. So they had they saw where the eyes of the user is going in their app, and they added that as custom variable to collect statistical eye movement information. You know what's an RTFM? Read the fantastic manual, okay? So if you go, I'm not going to go into details and explain to you how to use the Google Analytics specifically, but you go to the site, you get a unique key, you download a jar if it's Android, you add your unique key to the jar, to your code. You see the UA, your account here. And then you can start tracking, okay? So you can track clicks, you can track buttons. We automatically can track activities and stuff like that. And one important thing to do is just want to, for those of you who are developers, a very important tip when you use Google Analytics is to batch your requests. You know what's batching? So not every time the user, there's 2 strategies. One of every time the user does something, you call Google Analytics and send the event. This is like really bad on battery and really bad on bandwidth, because every time you do something, it calls our servers. The second strategy is to do batching, saying collect this in the memory, and every 20 seconds send like the batch of information back to the server. This is much more effective in terms of memory use and battery use, which users would love you if you save their battery. Okay? So what do you get? You get a lot of information. Some of it is very useful, like which countries you came from. Okay? You also see which are the pages, and it's like pages where the user came from. So you see start meditation there, and you see entry, and you see end meditation, but also you see here, you see share meditation, which was, I didn't think that users would do that. I used the share intent in Android, so people could share their meditation. I personally never share my meditations, but other people shared, and they shared in the big numbers. And this was a very strong clue to why I got the 10,000 installs. People were sharing their information and bringing other users in that effect, okay? So that was a really good clue for why I started getting users. This feature is, I think, no, it's a joke, but I think it's sponsored by screen manufacturers. Because once you open this screen, you say, okay, I'm going to keep this screen as it is and buy another screen for all the other things I do. Okay, it really, really delights you to see what your users are doing right now. Okay, but it's also quite useful. I worked with game manufacturers, and one of them had rooms. They have different rooms with different games, and each game had different price. So they could remove the price of a certain room, and in live see the users go into that room. So that was really useful for them to see, and it's also useful when you release your app. If you immediately see that everything crashes and nobody uses it, this is a good indication to restart your QA, your testing. Okay? So always look at this to see when you launch, wait a few hours and look at what your users are doing after each launch. And look, everybody's coming from Australia. Whoa. Okay, intelligence. This is one of the most important aspects of Google Analytics. It helps you analyze what is important in the information. How many of you like to look at a sheet full of a lot of data and find statistical importance? Oh, maybe two. Okay, talk to me afterwards, like data geeks. I love them. We don't like to do that, right? It's horrible, it's hard, with big data, it's almost impossible. You can hire a lot of people, but it's going to be very expensive. We do this for you automatically. We look at every data aspect in the data set and predict what will be tomorrow like. So if you had 5 users from Chicago, we predict that tomorrow you'll have 6. If you have 70, we say, whoa, something happened. You need to check that because now in Chicago, you're like really popular. I actually had that happen to me. I got a flag that said, listen, people are talking, like there's a lot of entries from Montreal, Canada. So I went to the real world, which is for me Google, and I Googled a meditation app in Montreal, and I found a blogger that talked about my app that day. And I emailed the guy and I say, hey, dude, thanks for the mention. Here's my next app. Here's my next version of the app. Would you like to give me your feedback? So that was really good because the information I got from this actually taught me to something that was really valuable for me in the real world. Okay? So think about this, and this I couldn't look at each city and to see if there's statistically significance. That's like crazy. Okay. Another thing which is really important, how many of you are here in marketing? We love you too. Okay. You heard about the funnel, right? Even if you're an engineer and don't care about marketing things, the funnel is really important. The funnel is what your users are doing in your app, okay, or in your website. First, they go to the main page. Then they go to look at an item. Then they click buy. Then they put their credit card. Then they do checkout. Okay, this is like the flow, and it's called a funnel because in the beginning a lot of users are coming in, and at the end of the funnel, like actually buying, there's a small percentage of them. Okay, so this was super insightful, and I'll take the mic to show you how insightful this is. Okay, you ready? To move the camera? I'm moving. Okay. So you see where people are coming from. Okay, you see where people are coming from, and they're going into entry. They're going into my first page of the app. Okay, with the amazing button. And then they start the meditation, and then they end the meditation, and then they share the meditation. Okay, but you can see there's a big drop-off. A lot of people who are going into the first page don't start the meditation. Why is that? Why is that? Yep. They don't recognize the button. So I didn't know that. So I talked to Dr. Yaakov Greenspan and I said, listen, people are coming in. They're not doing anything. He said, okay, so where do you start? I said, in the button. He said, which button? He didn't see a button. So I actually paid like $10, which was like a big investment, to actually generate a button. And now, in my app, I see from 50% drop rate to only 25% drop rate. These are a lot of users that are now coming into the funnel and getting a good experience. And this is like a $10 change in the app, okay? So a $10 change in the app created 25 more percentage of users going into what I wanted them to do, okay? Really simple. Now, they start the meditation. They go into the mood. But very few of them, you see, only 20%, about 20% actually finish the meditation. Why is that? More guess. Why do people start meditation and not finish it? Sorry? You said? They remember to use it. No, they actually started the meditation, they just didn't finish it, which was really frustrating for me. You have any idea? Sorry? Oh, good. Yeah, people here are good product managers. So I didn't know. I changed things. And then again, I asked Dr. Yaakov, what do I do? What do I do? And he said, listen, how long is the meditation? I said, oh, you start with 30 minutes, and then it becomes longer and longer. He says, okay, you're an idiot, right? When you go to the gym, do you start with like the big weights? I said, I don't go to the gym. I said, okay, if you would go to the gym, would you start with big weights or would you start with the small weights? I said, start with the small weights, right? He said, you need to do the same thing for your users. You need to give them the small weights of the meditation. So I changed the variable from 30 minutes to 3 minutes. How hard it is for you who are developers here, how hard it is to change a variable from 30 minutes to 3 minutes. It's nothing, right? Like you can spend the full day playing whatever you want and tell your manager that you're working on this project, this problem. And at the end of the day, just change the variable, click compile, and say, okay, I did it. I'm tired. I have to go home. It's been horrible. But you can sell up to 1 day of labor with this problem. And actually, it really changed. It created a revolution for my app. For 10,000 users, I'll tell you the numbers later, but it really created an amazing revolution for my app. I moved from 70% drop-off or 80% drop-off to only 10% drop-off at the first. So people spent 3 minutes. They thought that now they're master trainers, right? They're now, yeah, I finished it. Like you finished the first day of your gym. The morning after, it feels a little bit different. But when you come out of the gym the first day, you feel like you're the king of the world. They actually shared more. People who did small meditation, they were more successful, so I saw more shares. And people saying, and better rating. And 5 stars, they're saying, yeah, I got so insightful. Like 3 minutes of meditation, and now I'm a master of all knowledge, okay? But this was really helpful for them, and this was really helpful for me because I got more users, which was great. So you see that this small change, very small change, people always confuse users, a good product with a lot of features. They add more features, they give you developers a lot of, like, you need to do this and change that. But if you can do small things, like change the duration of something, or change the locations of something, you can really do a lot of things. You know, there's, one of the things we did to make search better, you know Google search? You used it? Okay. So there were many features that helped us get more search. One of them is, you know, the autocomplete, right? That created more search. People liked it more. Can you think of other features? Sorry? Yeah, statistical search and image search, and also the fact that you can click and just say what you want. But one of the things that really amazed me as an engineer that created more search was making the search bar bigger. One day we made the search bar a little bit bigger and a little bit taller, and people searched more. And for me as an engineer, it's like, what? What did they do on the search page before? They say, oh, I don't see the search, I'll go read the terms and conditions now? Really, like, what were they thinking? But it's an assumption. You remember the beginning of my presentation? There was an assumption on my part. So the idea is that don't make assumptions. I've seen, do I have another few minutes? I think yeah, I have 5 more minutes. So one more story is like, I work with a startup, and they had games for kids. And they actually were working with us in the Launchpad. And they had games for kids, and you have to move for a tablet, and you have to move the ball from one side to the other side of the tablet through a maze. Okay, that was the game. And we got Googlers, people working Google, to bring their kids to test the app. So the kids go and they look at the app, and the background of the maze was of balloons, because they thought kids love balloons, right? Of course, every kid loves balloons. So the kids look at the app, and what do they do? What do they do? They try to pinch the balloons, pinching the balloons, moving the balloons, moving the balloons, because you're a kid, right? You know that things that are touchable interact, and balloons are delightful. Right? So you don't care about the small like ball you need to move on the side. You just click on the balloons, and then nothing happens. So you become an angry kid. So you start just kidding the balloons, like, why don't they move? And then you start slamming the tablet because it doesn't work. So it was a little bit of a bad experience for the kids and for the tablets, and a very big surprise for the developer. So we did a very small change. We changed the background to be blank or blue. I think it was blue. And then we gave it back to the kids. And I said, ooh, there's a ball here. Maybe I'll move it to the other side of the maze. So the small things, this very, very small things that really change the user interaction are really magical. And they're usually not hidden in complex features. Okay? There's a trick. If you want to kill a feature, you can put it in like under settings, others, don't look here, okay? So try to move features from there to here and see that it doesn't make a lot of change, okay? Making it simple is much better. So this is what I wanted you to take out of my lecture. Improve the so this is what I did. I want you to think about actionable analytics. Actionable analytics is understanding your users, doing small experimenting, not making assumptions, and actually doing little things, and seeing how it works with your users. And last thing is do more meditation. Okay? Cool. Thank you. So this is today. This is the numbers today. I have about 500,000 meditations a month. I have about, while I was speaking, 300 and something people did meditation. Okay, so I have, at every minute, I have about 300 people, concurrent people, doing meditation. I was actually doing this session in Rio, and one of the people said, yeah, I tried to install your app, and then I realized I already have it. Okay, so this is like free and open, and if you want the code, just let me know. So, cool. Resources, this is the RTFM, Read the Fantastic Manual. You can Google Analytics for iOS, for Android, and for the web. This is what we talked about. If you fell asleep, okay, you can see the recording. Thank you very much.